When it comes to job searching and skills, I'm going to put some titles up here, but the main piece of advice that I can give you is apply for any job that asks for 1 to 3 years experience. Every single job is asking for 5+ years experience, experience managing multiple clients and agencies and whatnot. And oh, by the way, it's an entry-level associate position. Like, that's nonsense, to be honest. Apply for all of those jobs. They put that there because their recruiting team is the one who's writing that job description. But ultimately, coming from someone who has hired for those roles, we're just looking for really hungry college students who can prove that they've got a good work ethic, that they have accomplished things in college, and that you're willing to roll your sleeves up and get done what needs to be done. When it comes to a startup versus an established company, at a startup, you can have an immediate impact when you start because there's fewer people and you get larger exposure with executives and management. So greater visibility right from the get-go. Unfortunately, if you like rigid structure, you're not going to get it there. There's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to training and onboarding. You kind of just got to figure things out on your own. It's easier to move up the ladder there because there are new roles and new positions being created constantly, especially if it's growing, where you can kind of express your interest to your manager of a field that you want to get into. Now, on an established company, the opposite is true. It can be difficult to establish your brand right from the get-go. You really have to kind of work at that to show how amazing that you are. But onboarding, training, and operations are going to be very rigid and streamlined. So if you need that rigid structure, that's the place for you. Skills that are going to help you get a job. For digital marketing and advertising, it's all about professional writing, presentation skills, and time management. With digital marketing, graphic design is usually a plus. Creative storytelling is a plus because you're working in PowerPoint, you're working in Photoshop, all of those things. Whereas advertising, you're doing a lot of negotiation with clients and with vendors. You're very heavily involved in Excel and PowerPoint. So that's kind of the difference between those two. And then product, it's all about managing your time, managing project timelines, having an interest in technology, and potentially coding as well. So what to look for when you're interviewing with these folks? Does your potential manager seem genuinely interested in helping you succeed and grow? So really ask them, what is it that you do specifically to help new hires find their place at this company, establish themselves in their role, and move up within the organization? That is a very important question to ask and something that they should be able to answer. The disinterest versus the excitement during your interview, really, really important. And the last, when we go back in person, if you walk in there and it is dead silent and all you can hear is people swearing or whatever, you don't want to be there too, right? The environment and what you kind of perceive that to be tells a lot about the organization and the culture that they have there. Interview do's and don'ts. Research the company that you are applying for and ask intelligent questions about their products and offerings. That shows that you are interested in the job, you're interested in what the company does, and it's a huge, huge plus to a hiring manager. Some of you, as you're going to be applying straight out of college, may not have internships, but highlight some of the work that you've done in college and really use that to your advantage and say, like, hey, I led a group project. These are the things I learned about managing people. These are the things I learned about managing project timelines. Don't feel like just that you're coming out of college that you don't have the relevant experience. You do. You just need to use it to tell the story that you want to tell. Come prepared with questions. I would come to interviews with an entire notepad full with like 30 questions that I would kind of pick from as a bank to ask based on the conversations that I've had. Don'ts. Do not try to BS your way through an answer. All of us who have been hiring folks for a while can see straight through that and know that that's kind of the way that you're going to try and wiggle out of problems and adversity when you're working here. We want people to be honest. If you do not know the answer, admit it and ask them to explain it. Don't come unprepared with no questions to ask. Don't forget to look at your interviewers' LinkedIn profiles. I know people who will literally go into their LinkedIn feed to see whether the people they're interviewing took a look at their background. Just shows the interest that you have in them, in the company, and in the role. Do not talk down during your interviews about previous employers or people that you've worked with, because that just shows that you could potentially be, that's not going to stop after the interview. So always be complimentary. And if there are difficult situations that they will ask you about, be honest, but don't say, oh, it was this person's fault, it was this person's fault. That's an immediate red flag. And lastly, do not be late. If you're going to be late, let everybody and anybody know that you are late and the reason why. I've been late to an interview because of traffic, because of a train's broken down. So long as you can, with time, let them know that there's an issue and what it is, you'll be okay. We're all human. We have emotions. We're not robots. We understand if there's an issue that causes problems that you can't be there.